Coming off the bye week sitting at 4-1, the USC Trojans have shown flashes of what this team can be, but also plenty of signs that there's still work to do. It hasn't been a perfect first half of the season, but the potential is there. So if USC wants to get back on track and position themselves in a spot to potentially make the college football playoff, there are 5 things that I believe absolutely need to happen. The first thing I want to see, and this isn't completely under their control, is for USC to stay healthy. Coming into the season, we already knew the depth at certain positions was thin, especially at receiver and along the offensive line. And while there have been a few injuries, it honestly hasn't been as bad as it could be. But the margin for error is small. If just a couple of the starting linemen go down, we could be looking at a true freshman starting their first game in Big Ten play. And if Makai Lemon were to miss time, Lake McCree might be forced to play as the number 1 pass catcher on this team. That's not a position you want to be in this deep into the season. So keeping the current starters healthy is absolutely crucial, but just as important, USC needs some of its key injured players to come back soon if they want to make a real run. Right now, they're missing their starting center, a receiver, a running back, both first and second string nickels, and a major contributor at corner. The good news is that outside of Chasson Johnson and Prophet Brown, most of these guys are expected to return within the next few weeks, and that's huge. We saw against Illinois that when Killian O'Connor came out, the offensive line took a slight step back, and the secondary, it's been shaky all year. Getting those players back healthy could be the difference between finishing strong and letting the season slip away. The second change I want to see is better discipline across the board. We've seen it since the Georgia Southern game. Penalties have been a huge issue for USC, and honestly, they probably cost the Trojans the game against Illinois. It's been everything from hands to the face, to pass interference, to roughing the kicker. The same mistakes happening over and over again. And it's not just one guy, it's the entire team. When one player is making all the mistakes, it's easy to single them out and fix the problem. But when it's multiple players, week after week, maybe the blame isn't on the players. Now, I'm not saying this all falls on Lincoln Riley or Danton Lynn, but when discipline becomes a consistent issue for an entire roster, it usually means there's something within a program that needs to be addressed, whether that's accountability, communication, or just attention to detail. Third, this ties into the last one, but I want to see USC stay disciplined and stop beating themselves on the road. We saw it against Illinois, and we saw it multiple times last year. For whatever reason, maybe it's the travel, maybe it's just focus, this team tends to lose composure away from home. They blow leads, make mistakes, and just never look fully in sync. This is what separates the elite teams from the merely good ones. Look at Oregon, going into a whiteout environment at Penn State and coming away with a win, or Ohio State beating Washington on the road. Those teams don't make life harder for themselves. They play clean, consistent football no matter the environment. That's the difference. USC hasn't shown that same level of composure yet, and that's a big concern with what's ahead. 2 of the toughest games left on the schedule, Notre Dame and Oregon, are both on the road. If this team really wants to prove it belongs in the college football playoff conversation, they need to stay disciplined, play smart football, and find a way to win at least one of those games. Fourth, I want to see this team play like underdogs, and not to get too comfortable. I feel like at times, especially when they're heavily favored, the team underperforms and falls on their face. The team is currently 2-3 against the spread this season, and 14-17 over the past 3 years, with them being favored in over 75% of those games. This means that USC is supposed to win these games against weaker teams, but ultimately don't perform well when expected to. However, we see this team play significantly better when not supposed to win, like beating LSU last year, taking Penn State to overtime, and even beating Texas A&M. The point I'm trying to get at is that USC and Lincoln Riley need to play on their heels and alert every single game, because they haven't earned the right to assume they will win every game yet. Finally, I want to see the coaching staff back up their big contracts. USC spent a lot of money this offseason to keep D'Anton Lynn and Doug Belk, and they've invested heavily in building what's supposed to be one of the most talented staffs in the country. And to be fair, those guys earned that reputation. Lynn completely turned around an abysmal defense in year 1. Trevon Reed developed 2 NFL caliber corners at UCF, and the entire defensive staff brings legitimate NFL experience. But this year, they haven't looked like it. Coach Henne's defensive line looked good in the first 4 weeks, but against Illinois, the pass rush disappeared. They got almost no pressure and were getting bullied at the line of scrimmage. The linebackers under Rob Ryan have been below average for the most part outside of Eric Gentry, and don't get me started on the secondary. The bottom line is this: if Jen Cohen and the program are pouring that much money into this defensive staff, the defense shouldn't be this bad. With this much talent and experience, it's not too much to expect an average or even good defense. Holding Illinois for 2 minutes shouldn't be too much to ask. With that being said, these are the 5 things that I think USC needs to do to fully turn things around. If you disagree or feel the other things are more important, please let me know below, and I'll see you in the next video.